From 2000 to 2009, China's trade with Latin America has increased by 660%, and some say that's because the United States' influence is waning. Michael Cerna at the China Research Center says the United States' attention, as of late, has been, of course, on Iraq and Afghanistan, and Latin America fell lower and lower on America's list of priorities. China has been all too willing to fill any void. So I had a chance to talk to Margaret Myers of the Inter-American Dialogue. I asked her if she agrees with that.
I think that's a very good point. I mean, there have been countries in Latin America that the U.S. has chosen not to engage as much. Many of the ALBA countries, for example, for political reasons. There is just a degree of animosity there that has precluded strong bilateral relationships. And I think that China has had the opportunity there to be, in some cases, a lender of last resort, but also to build strong relationships with these leaders. We're talking about Venezuela, Ecuador, Argentina in some cases, and even Brazil. It's developed a strong, if occasionally contentious, relationship with Brazil. So I would say also in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, China has been one of the only countries that's been in a financial position to really enter the region as a strong lender, as an investor. Increasingly, it's investing. Its investment still isn't as high as Japan's. But also in terms of trade, I mean, there's tremendous demand there, and it's a new actor. And then this is also reflective of Latin America's interest in really diversifying its economic partnerships. We're seeing that across the region as well.
Let's talk a little bit about Venezuela, because it's interesting. On one hand, the president, Nicolas Maduro, says he has no interest in normalizing relations with the United States. It's still very contentious, as you know. On the other hand, vast amounts of Venezuelan oil exported to the United States. So it gets kind of the heart of how much does the rhetoric really matter when it comes to capitalism?
I mean, there is still that very strong relationship between Venezuela and the U.S. in terms of oil. And in this sense, I think it's going to be very interesting to kind of see, to analyze what's happening domestically in the U.S. with, all of this shale oil and gas, and what that's going to do to global energy markets, because that could very well have an effect on demand for Venezuelan oil, also for oil globally, global demand for oil from Brazil. And so I think we're in store for a bit of a shakeup in terms of partners in this sort of energy market.
Let me ask one final question. Pew went out, did the survey. Let's say they do it in 5 years from now. Look into your crystal ball. How do things change, or do you think it's going to stay much the same in terms of perceptions and reality, perhaps?
That's a great question. And one of their findings was that young people tend to have a more favorable opinion of China than older people. So if that's the case, and young people do in fact have a very different sort of global view, then we might see, more favorability, more of a sense that China is a real partner in the region across a wider variety of countries.
Margaret Myers, always a delight talking to you. Thanks so much for coming in and chatting with us.
Thank you.